Well, welcome back to the Bulldog Breakdown with Coach Rocco. Good afternoon, Coach Rocco.
How you doing, man? Thank
It's
you for
rainy
doing
outside.
Yeah, another week of rain.
I don't know. I promise you it's nothing to do with the podcast, but it seems like when we record it happens. Come off a strong 42-20 win over Amherst. A good Amherst team, improved Amherst team. Came out ready to roll. We're gearing up for another big matchup. Highly ranked Heritage coming in. They're 3-0, I believe.
Yeah.
We got a lot to cover today. Spotlight player of the game, Easton Ware, he always has a massive game, but I think it's right.
He really played well this week. Very, very good.
Anchored lines that, as we've said, are young, but really are growing with that kind of leadership among them. And then we're going to preview the Heritage game, and then we're going to ask Coach Rocco yet another fun question. And we're going to learn a little bit more about you.
Okay, good.
We're going to break down the Amherst game, get some insights here. But first, check out how you get your tickets for this week's game. All right, make sure to get those tickets. Game is Thursday night this week.
Little curveball. Can you hit the curveball?
The baseball reference on the football podcast. That's very, very nice. Coach, let's just jump right into that. We're going to preview it in a second, but I just want to ask you, you're out here practicing. Does that change your practice schedule?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is they're dealing with the same thing. So we're having to kind of expedite, installation and what we're going to get in, how much can we get in on a shorter week. So today we had pretty normal. It was a little misty and ball was a little bit slick, but I'm sure it's going to be a little slick on Thursday.
Right.
So it's good to be able to practice that a little bit. But I mean, we're both dealing with the same thing, so I would think it'll affect us both the same way.
Let's look back. Let's do a little film room action. You've looked at the film, 42-20.
Yeah.
Doesn't exactly tell the story of really how it started. Amherst came out really with great fight,
right.
But ultimately at the end, it's nice to walk away with a win. A lot of lessons to learn from it, and still have the win. For you, what were the key moments that stood out in this game that really stood out as pivotal moments?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that they scored first. We haven't been behind since 2022.
Oh my.
Yeah. And so that was the first time we were behind and had to fight from behind. So what we learned about our team is that we will fight, and we that's the one positive I think that comes out of something like that. And then we went right down and scored. Then we got a safety and went up on them. Then we had a return of the punt after the safety for a touchdown and went up on them 2 scores. So right as quickly as we got down, we turned it and got right back up on them.
Right.
But then I think the right before halftime, putting a 2-minute drill together, going down and trying to score right before half, our young quarterback Tyler Jackson kind of was on a sprint out type of a pass route, saw his receivers recovered and just tucked it and dove across the goal line with like 12 seconds to go. So we scored to go up 3, what was it? I forget what the score was at the time, but 2 scores going into halftime. And, really I think that kind of turned the momentum for good. And, we ended up being, like you said, the score looked like it was much more of a runaway than it really was.
Right. This is week after week we're saying Tyler Jackson's name, and he's in a position of influence, but he's really making the most of it for sure.
Absolutely. He turned 15 years old today, so he's been playing as a 14-year-old varsity quarterback for the first 5 weeks of the season here. And now, hopefully, he becomes 15. He can start playing like a 21-year-old, maybe.
Well, that's incredible. I think if we're going to talk about all parts of the game, one of the things that was seen at the beginning is, I think in dealing with some of that getting behind, there was some emotion that started to pour out of some of the players.
Yeah.
When you see that there's personal fouls or unsportsmanlike type things happening with these guys that usually have discipline, how do you corral that? How do you help them get back into a place of let's focus on what's right in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, that's not easy, and we talk a lot about it, and we actually in preseason we'll do some teaching lessons on not crossing the line and losing your cool. That affects the team, because quite honestly it's a selfish thing when you have to do something to get your frustration out and not really caring almost how it affects everybody else. And so I think we have to look at it as a selfish thing first, and nobody wants to be looked at as selfish. And then just being able to take the deep breath, turn the page. Football's a game of highs and lows. Things are going to happen really well, and things are going to happen that frustrate you. And so you got to be able to turn the page, move on to the next play, and keep fighting and keep playing with some discipline. And there's a couple individuals on our team that kind of struggle with that, and I mean, you got to get inside their headspace a little bit, get eye contact, and help them to turn the page, because sometimes they're so out of it that they'll keep doing the same thing 3 or 4 plays in a row if you don't get them to reset. So it's. Kids, we've got great kids, but everyone will lose their cool every so often.
We talked about it the other week. We said we get to watch these young guys grow into men right before our eyes, and sometimes we forget about that. We as fans will say, "Why are they doing that?" Well, they're kids.
That's right.
And I love to be able to watch you guys as coaches, and even some of the older players really helping these guys move through it and ultimately come back and get control and win the game.
Right. Yeah.
It's nice when you can do that and still win the game. Somebody stands out every week, and we do talk about him, but we're wrong if we don't. It's Gideon. Gideon, of course, has the run back, kick run back for a touchdown. And I was able to watch that over and over, and just the way he steps through some tackles, runs right into traffic, and somehow gets through.
It is amazing. He is so good at being able to just change the plane of his body and his progress to move it 6 inches this way, and it's just enough to just have a guy miss a tackle. He can't get him all, can't square him up, so to speak. And he can do that in a phone booth. He can make someone miss in a phone booth. He's so dynamic that way. But I don't know if our fans quite followed Friday night. I mean, Gideon was struggling a little bit. He had a little bit of asthma, was hitting on his inhaler. We probably played him half as much as we normally do. I think he had 20 carries, and then Justice Belford had 11 or 12. So we really split the carries. Jaden Coward had a couple on defense. Gideon played maybe half the game. Alex Maraglia ended up playing a lot of safety the other night. And so you asked earlier about what things you learned from the game. We had some kids step up in pretty crucial situations to replace our top player, and they did an admirable job.
Yeah, it's amazing that he struggled with that, and just shy of 200 yards for the night, plus a 65-yard run back.
That was a down night for Gideon.
That's unbelievable. Amherst offense did have a few moments, but our defense seemed to respond well. You've seen them continue to grow through the season. Talk to me a little bit about some standouts
we have played pretty good complementary defense from the front to the linebackers to the DBs. The defensive backfield is where I would say we have our most experience. But up front, Easton Ware and Ryan Sisney and Jackson Manning is playing a lot of defensive end now, and Bodie Aronson is playing some. Those guys have played steady football. Last year we had Weston, and we had Easton, and then we had who am I missing? Tyler Murray.
Yeah.
So those guys were stout up front, and I mean, really as good of defensive line as we have had here since I've been here. So we're replacing two of those guys, and so that's a work in progress. And then our linebacking core, I think, is growing as well. Nolan Scott is the one guy that has a little bit of experience there, and Austin Tremblay started out the year at a defensive line position, and we moved him back to inside linebacker, and he's catching on and doing well there. Complementary. They all have their own roles, and I think we're maturing together pretty well.
You bring up Easton Ware, player of the game, and really fantastic week for him. Yeah. We're going to talk to him here in a second on the sideline spotlight. Before he comes in, let me just ask you, Clemson commit, talented as can be, good guy. What sets him apart in terms of work ethic and leadership? Like, what is it that has brought him to this point of where he is doing these kind of things?
Yeah, I think Easton realizes what is ahead for him, at the college level. And Easton is a tremendous high school player. I mean, but to be a college player at that level, there's another gear he's got to hit. And so I think he realizes that, and I think he wants to make these last 5, 6, 7 weeks of his high school career as much of creating a memory for high school in leading his team and performing on the field, but also to catapult him into an excellent college career where he can hit the ground running, because he's going there mid-year. So, I think he's been just a stellar leader for us this year, and just a great kid, likable kid. Love having him on the team, and has been a really good role model for our guys.
Well, with that, let's take a moment and let's bring Easton in, check out what he has to say about being player of the game, Amherst, all the things. Let's go to Sideline Spotlight. All right, Bulldog fans, we're here at the Sideline Spotlight, literally almost at the Spotlight, but we're by Andy's place. This is the Bulldog
concession stand.
Right
there's like where they sell the clothes.
That is the clothes. They sell the burgers here. Bulldog Bites, Benny's Bites.
Something like that.
Yeah. Good food. But today we got somebody on the Bulldog Spotlight that we all know. Easton Ware, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, having a good season so far?
Yes, sir.
Enjoying yourself?
Yeah. Getting excited before college. So.
It's nice. It's nice to have a zero in the loss column. It cures all ills, I think, sometimes.
It helps a lot. Yeah.
So, first of all, congratulations, player of the game.
Thank you.
That's always exciting. It means that you had a good game. And but major force on both defense and offensive line. Big battle out there. I mean, from the very beginning. Tell me a little bit about the climate out there. Right at the get-go, it was a little testy.
I mean, it wasn't too bad, but like them coming off with the first score, that really shook us up, because we haven't been down in, I think it's 2 years. So it took a while, and I'm just over there trying to get the guys calmed down. So they're all getting riled up. I've been in that situation before, so I was on that team. And I'm trying to get them to calm down, but they're getting in their heads. A few guys got stupid fouls, some personal fouls, and you're trying to get them straight, but still trying to do your job. And so it's a really just getting in your mind that you have to be composed and lead more by example than just yelling at them and telling them what to do. Yeah.
So that's something that's really good to learn, especially early in the season. It's nice when you can face adversity like that and still come away with a win.
That's right.
So that's cool. Neat to see that you guys were able to work through that. I feel like towards the end it kind of calmed itself down. But hats off to Amherst for coming out.
They came out hot. Yeah.
They came out hot doing that. Speaking of that game, practice last week was interrupted. Weather came in. We got weather right now, but you're on the field here. Last week, you guys had to be in the gym.
Yes, sir.
For you, we talked to Coach a little bit about that, but for you, how does that change your ability to prepare for a game like this?
I'd say it's just a lot more mental reps than physical reps. So you get pros and cons to that, obviously. So you're going to be more prepared mentally, and there's going to be a few different looks that you don't know about, but for the looks you know it's going to happen, you're going to be a lot more prepared. But physically, you're not going to get that, like, just continuing the mental strength to know what to do without really thinking about it, and just muscle memory. So you lose that aspect, but you get a lot more of the mental aspect of knowing what they're going to do.
Feel that impacts the younger players a little bit more than you guys who are seniors kind of been through that before?
Yeah, we have a really young line, two sophomores, one junior. So they're a lot more still trying to learn their confidence, really. And so them getting the mental reps is good, but they need a lot more of the physical reps compared to me and the center, Ryan Sisney, because we've been doing it for 4 or 5 years now. So we know our offense, we know our steps. So it's more of just polishing up for us and just getting better at it and really learning it like they are, because it's a completely new language.
Yeah.
And so even still being in the 4th, 5th week, whatever, and it's so hard to learn that.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. Again, another positive is for them to be able to learn so much and still come away with a win.
Yeah.
It's nice when you say there's lessons learned, but you still got the W in the column.
Yeah.
Easton, it's no secret you're headed to Clemson next year. I know that's on your mind a little bit. Saturdays have a little bit more interesting flavor to them. Watching.
That's very exciting.
How do you balance that? How do you balance preparing for Bulldogs football and a quest for a back-to-back state championship, all those things? Well, I mean, there has to be some. Every senior that I've ever known, I've been in student ministry for a long time, every senior has this senioritis already of I'm ready for the next step. How do you balance that?
Well, obviously I am ready to go. Like, I'm excited, January 5th, moving day. But at the same time, each week here, it's one step closer. By doing my job, it's one step closer to getting playing time when I get there. So if I come in, with the attitude like, oh, I'm already here, I shouldn't be here, everyone else sucks, like, I know what I'm supposed to do, then you're just you're gonna stay the same. When you get to college, you're gonna be like, well, why are they better than me? Like, I was the best in high school. But I'm taking it as the aspect of, well, one, I have Coach Grove, so he's 9 years in the NFL, so he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
So I'm getting college coaching before I'm in college. So I'm really trying to take advantage of that, and each week just learn the little things I need to improve on before I get there and need to improve on the bigger things. So it's really just looking at each week one at a time as extra prep before I get to the main thing.
That's awesome. This season is still relatively young. I mean, we're still at the first part of the season. Hopefully we're going to go into December, But looking back on these games that you've played so far, anything stick out as your favorite part of the season so far?
Honestly, the scrimmage, Christiansburg. Yeah, because I got a pick 6.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's probably the highlight of my year. So
now you got that taste, and you're like,
yeah,
Coach, pass me. I can do it.
I mean, we have a play. We ran it against Glass 2 years ago. It got called back, but
I remember I was in the end zone. I'm calling it was touchdown. I mean,
should have been.
Yeah.
The refs changed the call after the play, so
we won't go there.
Yeah,
it's water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Water under the bridge. Final thing. As someone who has expressed faith in Christ, you're out here as a senior leader on this team. How does your relationship with Jesus influence the way that you approach both the game of football, how you play, like interacting even with opposing players, but also how you lead some of these younger guys?
For me, the biggest struggle would be, like, as you say, on the field, because you get so emotional, you get into it, you're like, you forget, like, this is how I should be acting as a Christian. So as a young Christian, I'm not there. I'm still learning. I gotta, like, intentionally act these ways. And on the field, that's really easy to forget. So I just gotta, like, calm down, breathe, and think about it. And leading the other guys, sometimes I had to talk with another player who's struggling right now. It's like, you just gotta pray. And, like, when you're on the sideline, kneeling, like, majority of the team does that, you gotta pray, like, help me play for your glory, not mine. Let me see, like, let the fans see your shine light through me from how I play, not for myself. And so that was a big thing. I used to be like, last year I would pray, like, help, like, no injuries, it's the same, no injuries, like, let us have a good game, let us win. And really this year is a lot more of help me show your light. And then in the players, you just got to lead by example, just constantly be doing the right things.
Wow. That's awesome. And definitely a growth thing, because it's not bad to pray for no injuries, not bad to pray
it's
for
not bad.
to do well in the game, but to really start seeing that this is a platform that you get to lead from, and especially as you make that jump into the next level, your influence grows. And so there's a responsibility. Look at me being a youth pastor, my bad. I'm sorry. Hey, Bulldogs fans, number 78, wrecking havoc inside the line, having a lot of fun. We're really excited to see you guys take on Heritage this week.
Yes, sir.
It's always a battle and stuff. So we're looking forward to that. Easton Ware, everybody. Thanks for coming and hang out.
You.
All right, Coach. Easton, just as good. Maybe has a future in broadcasting.
Yeah, I mean he's very well spoken, very mature. So who knows? Who knows what his future will be?
Hey, we're sitting here. It's late afternoon, early evening, and it is dark. It is raining. It is misty. There's a lot of water on the ground. We talked about how that kind of changed your preparation a little bit earlier.
Right.
But we play on a turf field.
Right.
How much does a rainy game impact play on a field like this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the olden days when we were playing on grass, that was very influential in how the game is played. But I think the biggest thing, even on turf today, is it's how much rain is coming out of the sky. Certainly the ball's going to get wet rolling on the turf that's wet. But if rain is coming down and depending on what type of severity, you just can't keep the ball dry. And so if you're handling the football and even trying to pass or whatever, really becomes impactful. So to be able to practice in this and really ball security and doing things with two hands on the ball as opposed to one, you got to change your method of operation a little bit.
Yeah. And I remember a little bit that I do remember playing that the faster it's coming down, the harder it is to see things in front of you, and hopefully it'll be enough that we got fans coming out, because it's we need everybody out here for that.
Well, it's homecoming too. I mean, we crowning the homecoming queen, and I mean people want to see that if they're not even football fans. So we need to come out, put your ponchos on, and weather the storm. It's going to get worse as the week goes on. So we need fan support.
Thursday night. Don't forget, it's Thursday night, not Friday night. Thursday night lights. Hey, we're playing Heritage, a strong opponent, one of the top-ranked teams in the state, strong every year. What do you see as their biggest strengths? And I mean, without giving too much away, how do you plan to counter that?
Yeah, well, two things. I mean, Brad Bradley is an extremely good football coach, and he spends 365 with his guys, and that's the way he's built his program. So he's been pouring into them all year long, and if he teaches an outside linebacker to stay at home, read this key, and then pursue this way, or safety, key here, come downhill, because it's run or pass is coming, get back out of there. They do what he coaches them to do. And so they are a very well-coached team, very disciplined in what they do. Then on the other hand, they are extremely athletic. We played a team this week, Amherst, who has dynamic athletes all over as well, where Heritage maybe has the advantage maybe over on an Amherst type of team, is they are big and physical up front. They're big bodies, big strong bodies that are weight room guys that are used to grinding. So not only do they have the dynamic skill, they're very big and physical up front. So well coached and then athletic and big and physical.
Got me scared, Coach.
Yeah.
So how do you counter something like that?
You give the ball to Gideon Davidson.
Rolling in with win after win, we do have momentum. But how do you get that in kids' heads that this game is this game? Doesn't matter what we did against Salem. Doesn't matter what we did against Amherst. How is it this game?
Yeah, I mean that's a hard thing, and we've been very blessed, as you said, to be on a roll. For a couple of years now, we're winning, and kids start thinking maybe that we're better than we are. Other people that really don't know what they're looking at are also telling them, grandpa is and neighbors telling you guys are great. You don't even have to show up. You're just going to win. And so, teenagers start believing that kind of stuff. And then often it takes a real rude awakening to shake them to reality again. So I pray that doesn't happen, and hopefully we go through another undefeated season. But it is a hard thing to keep teenage minds locked in when other people or social media or whatever are telling them something different.
Yeah, you always had the phrase, don't read your own press.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's almost impossible
Yeah.
to get away. I mean, there was a time when it had to be in the newspaper to read it.
Press clippings where you clipped it out.
Now they pick up their phone, there's notifications, and they're being tagged in things locally. Well, Coach, we're going to end today with a trivia question for you.
Okay.
Just one of the things that as people approach me about the Bulldog Breakdown is they've enjoyed spending time with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's learning a lot about football. I know I have as well. So the question is this: what is something about your coaching career or even your personal life that most people don't know or might even surprise people?
Yeah. I think I shared about my 3 children before, about when their birth dates were. Do you remember if I did that?
I don't remember the birth dates.
So I have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. My son Chris was born on Christmas Day. Okay, so he's Christopher.
Yeah.
My son Mike was born on Halloween, and my daughter Jen was born at 3:45 a.m. on June 7th, 1989. So she was the first daughter in the family, second child, born at 3/4/5/6/7/89.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So if Kamala Harris is going to be running for president, I certainly think my daughter, with that kind of uniqueness about her past, she's going to be the next or the first woman president in our country. That's what I always told her, because she was so unique with that birthday. Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Something unique about my family.
That's awesome. Coach, we're looking forward to this Thursday. We say we're going to say it as many times as we can. Thursday night, we're playing Heritage. It's going to be one of the games of the year. It's going to be one of the games that decides playoffs.
1 versus 2 right now.
Yes, it's essential.
And it's homecoming. Come home.
And so, yes, there may be weather in the area, but I've been to the stores. They have ponchos.
Oh, yeah.
And put those on. Come out, cheer on the guys. It's going to be a memorable night. You can get your tickets on GoFan. You don't even have to stand in line. Come out here and get some of Andy's burgers.
Yeah.
They're really good. Come for a good time. It's going to be great. Coach, thanks for another great week.
Thank you, man.
Anything else you got to say?
No, appreciate it. Go Bulldogs.
All right, friends. Go Dogs.